FM News Talk 97.1.
On-demand audio.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size. If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This is 2A Tuesday, brought to you by the Range St. Louis West.
All right, my guest this morning is Rick Ector. Rick is an NRA-appointed counselor. He's a certified arms instructor, and we're happy to have him on this morning. Rick, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Good to get you on the radio here. You know, I initially wanted to invite somebody on from the NRA when I saw what's going on over here in the state of Illinois. Of course, we have lots of listeners here in southern Illinois who are strong supporters of the Second Amendment. And some of them, Rick, have gotten together recently to kind of defy their state capitol, where they pump out all kinds of crazy anti-gun legislation. And they're basically, a couple of them have designed what they call gun sanctuary counties, where they say they're simply not going to enforce some of this craziness.
Yeah, I saw that, and I really think that it's unfortunate. I mean, the thing about what we expect from our elected legislators, man, we expect them to create laws that are actually going to make us as law-abiding citizens safe and to keep the bad people from owning and possessing guns and doing things that could be a danger to their community. It's a wonder that they were proposing that nonsense. I can't figure out who would think that would be a good idea. Yeah,
I can't either. And oddly enough, the Democrats have decided that they're gonna push back and they're going to try to prosecute these counties that are trying to protect people's Second Amendment rights. They're the same people who have basically created a sanctuary state for illegal aliens in the state of Illinois, where the Highway Patrol and others are not allowed to, honor ICE detainers or turn people over to ICE, unless they're charged with really serious crimes. It's kind of they've got a little irony going on over there in the state legislature.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they do not want to find, and when they discover that there's people who are in the country without any legal justified means of being present, but then they're entertaining the idea of going after law-abiding citizens who, in these pro-gun cities, and saying, hey, well, let's make that illegal. It's almost as if they're saying, on the one hand, we can have people in the country illegally and not do anything, but then we want to oppose those small number of cities in the state. I believe there's 25 cities that are looking at having sanctuary gun laws, and they're saying, well, even though these people are citizens of the country and they're guaranteed by the Constitution, the Second Amendment, to own a gun, we want to make it very difficult for them to have the means of protecting themselves and their families. It's it's really hard to fathom how they could come up with those two concepts.
It's a constant struggle. I know you're from up in Michigan, correct?
I am from Michigan. I'm in the city of Detroit.
So they have any crazy laws like that in Michigan, do they?
No, and thank God that we don't. What we're really happy that we have some sane legislation here. We have laws that are good and that they're consistent from the Upper Peninsula all the way down to the bottom of the state. As long as you meet the requirements for owning a gun, that you're 21 years of age, you can pass a background check, you can have the permit to carry a firearm in most places, with the exception of a handful of gun-free zones.
Right.
But the law's working pretty good.
Which is, as we know, where most of these mass shootings happen, are in gun-free zones. We're currently trying to address that situation here in the Missouri legislature. But let me move on to Florida for a minute, Rick. Down in Florida, the NRA is backing a couple of bills that are moving through the Florida House. At least one of them would would move towards some more sane school safety, which would allow teachers or people in schools who are properly trained to carry weapons, correct?
Yeah, and when you think about it, when you hear of all of the issues that we've had all across the country, like over at the Stoneman Marjorie Douglas School, man, the people who are there at the school would have the best opportunity to stop a bad person with bad intent from hurting innocent people, especially children. That during that bad situation, man, I believe there was at least one school officer who was there and present when the bad guy came onto the facility, but he decided that he would just shelter in place and not take action.
Right.
And it took law enforcement officers quite a bit of time to actually get to the school, but by then, of course, we had suffered a whole lot of murders, and it only makes sense that people there on the actual premises would be able to make a difference in a timely fashion and reduce the amount of murders that would happen actually on the premises.
Yeah, it's just common sense. I agree with you completely, and I wish they would do something more like that here in the state of Missouri and in Illinois as well. I think if my argument's always been there's a reason that the local federal building, people don't try to attack that because it's got metal detectors at the front door and armed guards everywhere. Same with the police station. Why would you not want people to understand that if they choose to pick a school to target, that they know they're not going to meet any resistance? That just makes no sense. The other bill that's moving its way through the House in Florida would be one that would allow religious institutions or churches to authorize people to carry on their property.
And that would make a lot of sense as well. I mean, there have been numerous incidents all across the country in which most states, churches are forbidden for law-abiding citizens to have guns, but unfortunately, bad guys are aware of the limits of the law, and that's where they will go and commit crimes. And we've had a few unfortunate incidents in which people have gone into churches and have killed people. And again, if you're an evil person and you have a desire to commit evil to a big group of people, a gun-free zone like a church would be a very enticing location.
Yeah, it's true, and it seems like such common sense to us, but we see these bills all across the country that struggle in legislatures to get passed. Listen, Rick Ector with the NRA, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.